Her 9-year-old daughter went to a sleepover at her sister's house. They left her behind to scrub the floors and wash their dishes while everyone else went out for ice cream and a movie. Dana didn't shout. She took action. 3 days later, her sister's perfect life started crumbling. If you'd told Dana that Saturday morning that her daughter's dream sleepover would end with the child crying herself to sleep, she probably would have laughed. Dryly. The kind of laugh you give right before the world tilts. But that morning started with hope. Her daughter Mia's hope. And Dana's, though she'd never admit it aloud. Mia had been talking about that sleepover for weeks. Months, honestly. If you counted the day she circled it on her paper calendar and covered the square with so many star stickers, it looked like a tiny explosion. Dana's sister Vanessa hosted these sleepovers every year, though calling them sleepovers was generous. They were more like miniature galas for her daughters. Harper, who was 11, and Peyton, who was 9 and just a little older than Mia. Matching pajamas, themed snack bars, crafts so complicated they should come with instruction manuals. Every kid got a personalized gift bag with glitter and ribbons, like it was some exclusive event they were lucky to attend. And for years, Mia wasn't on that list. She was the kid watching from the sidelines, smiling like she didn't mind. But she minded. God, she minded. So when Harper invited her this year, out of nowhere, without explanation, Mia treated it like she'd won a scholarship to the cool kids universe. She planned outfits. She wrote little notes. She even bought tiny gifts for each girl, using her savings. Dana bought one too, pretending her daughter didn't see her wipe her eyes at the checkout. So yes, Dana was hopeful. Quietly. Carefully. Like a parent who'd been burned before. When they pulled up to Vanessa's house for drop-off, it looked like something out of a magazine. Signs with glittery arrows, pink balloons, laughter spilling out the door. Mia stepped out of the car like she was stepping into sunlight. She didn't even look back. Dana watched her run up the walkway, this hopeful, awkward kid in her favorite purple dress, and thought, maybe, just maybe, she should have known better. She really should have. The next morning, the house looked different. Quiet. Too quiet. The balloons were drooping, like even they were exhausted. When Dana knocked, the door creaked open like she was interrupting a crime scene. And there was Mia. Pale. Dirty. Eyes red. Dress wrinkled and stained with something Dana didn't immediately recognize. Her hair stuck to her face like she'd been crying for hours. She held her stuffed rabbit under her arm like someone might take it from her. "Morning," Mia whispered. That's when Dana's heart cracked. Not dramatically. More like a hairline fracture you don't notice until it's too late. Vanessa didn't appear. Neither did Harper. Or Peyton. The whole place was strangely empty, except for Mia and the faint smell of bleach. "Ready to go?" Dana asked. Mia nodded, quick and stiff, like she'd learned not to take up space overnight. Something in Dana went cold. They didn't even make it out of the neighborhood before Dana asked softly, "So, how was it?" Mia didn't answer at first. She just stared straight ahead, lips trembling. Then she made a sound, small, strangled, and suddenly she was sobbing. Not the dramatic kind, not loud, just broken. "They said I wasn't part of the group," she choked out. "They said I had to earn it." "Earn what?" Dana asked. "My place." Dana's grip on the steering wheel tightened. "How?" Mia reached into her pocket with shaking fingers and unfolded a crumpled piece of paper. A list. In handwriting Dana recognized. Harper's, with doodled hearts around the title like it was cute. Scrub the floors. Wash dishes, clean the bathroom sink. Tidy the playroom vacuum. The hallway wipe baseboards, hours. That was hours of work. For a child. A child who was supposed to be having a sleepover. Dana stared at the list. It trembled in her hand, though that might have been her own shaking. "They said I had to finish it before I could do anything with them," Mia whispered. "But I couldn't go fast enough. So they left." "Left where?" For ice cream. And the movies. Of course. The outing Mia had been looking forward to since June. She wiped her nose on her sleeve. I tried to hurry. I wanted to go. I really did. But the floors were so dirty, and the dishes had dried stuff on them, and… Mia folded in on herself, hugging the stuffed rabbit tight. And that's when Dana noticed her daughter's hands. Red. Raw. Little patches where skin had peeled. Something inside Dana, something that had existed quietly all her life, flared awake. Did your aunt know? Dana asked. Mia nodded. She said it was fair. She said I should be useful. Useful. Dana inhaled through her teeth. That word was going to haunt her. And Grandma and Grandpa were there, Mia added. They said cleaning would build character. They all left together with the girls. Dana's vision went sharp, like the world had narrowed to a pinpoint. And you were here alone? Mia nodded again. I ate cereal for dinner. The milk smelled funny. Dana pulled the car over. Her hands shook as she reached for her phone. Not from shock, not from fear. From fury. The kind that's quiet at first. The kind that starts low in the chest and rises slowly, steadily, until it's something you could cut steel with. She dialed Vanessa. Her sister answered on the second ring. Oh, hi, Vanessa chirped. Did she tell you? The kids thought she should clean. It was hilarious. Hilarious. The house needed it anyway, Vanessa added. Honestly, she did a good job. In the background, Dana's parents' voices chimed in like they were offering commentary on a baking show. It was good for her. She's too sensitive. Dana, you baby her too much. Dana hung up, quietly, deliberately, and she stared at her daughter, this little girl with swollen eyes and a crumpled list in her hands, and something in Dana clicked into place. Something final. Something cold. They thought they could treat my child like this and walk away, Dana whispered. She brushed a tear from Mia's cheek. They were wrong. A beat of silence passed. Very soon, they would regret everything. Dana didn't sleep the night after the sleepover. Not a minute. She just lay there in the dark, listening to the refrigerator hum and trying not to picture Mia standing in that doorway with her dirty dress and swollen eyes. But the mind has a cruel talent for digging up old things when you least want them. Because the more she replayed Mia's night, the more familiar it felt. Uncomfortably familiar. Like she'd lived it once already. Dana and Vanessa had grown up 3 years apart, which was the perfect age gap for the older child to declare full monarchy. Vanessa hadn't been a sister. She'd been a tiny dictator with pigtails. And the rules were simple. Vanessa gives orders. Dana follows them. Vanessa would call her into her room, point at whatever disaster she'd created and say, Mom wants you to clean this. Mom had not said that. Mom didn't even know the mess existed. But if Dana dared question it, Vanessa would raise her voice, and suddenly Mom would appear, already annoyed, already assuming Dana was guilty. Dana, she'd sigh, I don't care who made the mess. You clean it. Dana must have heard those words 1,000 times. They burrowed in deep, became part of the wiring. Floors, dishes, picking up toys, cleaning Vanessa's room because you're quicker, scrubbing scuffs off the hallway baseboards because you walk weird. Yes, Vanessa actually said that once. If unfairness were a sport, Vanessa was destined for gold. And Mom, bless her selective vision, always believed the older sibling. That's life, she'd say. Older kids have more responsibilities. Which was hilarious, because Vanessa's responsibilities were mostly pointing at things and telling Dana to fix them. Fairness wasn't coming. Dana learned that early. When they finally got old enough to move out, something shifted. Vanessa grew nicer, or she grew better at pretending. Hard to tell. She'd send birthday texts, ask about Dana's work. Tag her in those generic "sisters are forever" posts that make you want to roll your eyes straight into another dimension. For a while, the relationship felt almost normal. Polite. Civil. Like they were two adults with history, not one adult and her former unpaid childhood labor. Did Dana trust it? Not entirely. But peace is a seductive thing when you've never had it. Then adulthood came in full force. Nursing school, the clinic job, marriage, Mia, and eventually the divorce. Suddenly, Dana had a rhythm to her life. Steady work hours, predictable custody days, weekends that felt like either a marathon or an exhale. And that's when the "Dana is free, right?" era began. "Hey, can you watch the girls? I have a work thing. Could you take them for a few hours? I'm overwhelmed." "You're not busy, are you?" It started once a month, then bi-weekly. Then suddenly it was our routine, except no one asked Dana if she wanted a routine. She loved her nieces, truly, but there was a pattern she couldn't ignore. They almost always showed up on the days Mia was with her dad. Not every single time, life isn't that neat, but enough that it felt intentional. Enough that Dana started wondering why Vanessa never suggested they come over when Mia was home. Because Mia adored her cousins. She would have been thrilled to have them there. And honestly, it would have been easier for Dana, too. 3 kids playing together is a lot simpler than one lonely kid asking when the fun arrives. But convenience was never part of Vanessa's calculations. Control was. And whether she meant to or not, she made sure Mia stayed on the outside of the cousin circle. Watching, not joining. Hoping, not included. It was a knife with a familiar shape. Then came the medical phase. If you've never been a nurse in a family like Dana's, imagine this. Your phone becomes a living, screaming creature. It rings for every rash, cough, headache, ankle twinge, mysterious itch, and emotional meltdown. Dana's dad once called her because his ear felt strangely aware of itself. She didn't even know how to diagnose that. Vanessa called constantly. The girls had sore throats. They had bumps. They had weird energy. Vanessa's husband had back pain and wanted Dana to just take a quick look at a barbecue while he gnawed on a rib. She became their free clinic. Not their sister. Not their daughter. Their convenience. And Dana fell into the role like muscle memory. Because that's what she'd always done. Fix it all. Carry it all. Be available. It didn't occur to them that she might be exhausted, or working, or human. But nothing drained her like the money. Dana's family treated her bank account the way raccoons treat a trash can, a resource they felt entitled to rummage through whenever the mood struck. $80 until Friday. $150 because things are tight. $300 because Vanessa's business venture needed just one more push. These ventures had the lifespan of a housefly. The money, though? Gone permanently. And somehow Dana, divorced, raising a kid, working in healthcare, became the family's safety net. No one asked how she was doing financially. They just assumed she'd figure it out. And for a long time, she did. Because she'd been trained that way, shaped that way. But everything snapped into focus the moment she saw Mia holding that chore list. The handwriting was different, but the message was the same. You're here to serve us. You don't get a place unless you earn it. Your feelings don't matter. Your pain doesn't matter. Only our convenience matters. They had done it to Dana for years, and now they were doing it to Mia. That was the line. The final one. Mia wasn't going to be their new helper, or their scapegoat, or their built-in babysitter. She wasn't going to learn the same lessons Dana had, the ones that carve into you until you stop noticing the carving. They had taken enough from Dana. They would not take her daughter next. And they had absolutely no idea what was coming. Dana didn't expect Mia to say it first. They were sitting on the couch the morning after the sleepover. Mia was wrapped in her soft yellow blanket, hair still tangled, cheeks still blotchy. Dana made them hot chocolate because she didn't know what else to do with her hands. Mia took one sip, stared into the mug like it might give her answers, and whispered, I don't ever want to see them again. There wasn't anger in her voice, just a quiet finality, the kind you hear right before a door closes. And Dana felt something sharp in her chest. Not pain exactly, more like recognition, because she'd spent her whole life shoving down the urge to say those exact same words. I understand, she said softly. What she didn't say was that she felt the same. Not after this. Not anymore. Something shifted in Dana right then, clear as glass. No more babysitting. No more money. No more dropping everything to fix everybody's everything. No more Dana will handle it. No more apologizing for wanting basic respect. She didn't feel guilty, not even a little. What she felt was awake. The first thing Dana did was freeze the extra card Vanessa had borrowed during one of her financial emergencies. The bank app made a satisfying little click when it deactivated, like closing a lock on a door she should have shut years ago. Next, she canceled the recurring transfers, all those little automatic payments she'd convinced herself weren't a big deal. Funny how not a big deal always turned into a few $100s a month. Then she sent Vanessa a message. I won't be babysitting anymore. Please arrange alternatives. Short, direct, no wiggle room. Vanessa's response came 30 minutes later. A single letter. K. Not okay. Not understood. Just that one letter. The texting version of an eye roll. Dana stared at it and actually laughed. A dry laugh, sharp around the edges. The kind you make when you realize someone has absolutely no idea what's about to hit them. An hour later came the follow-ups. But you always do Wednesdays. I really need this one. We'll talk later. Dana didn't answer. She didn't even open them. She let them sit there like unanswered invitations to chaos. For the first time in her life, choosing herself felt almost peaceful. She should have known the peace wouldn't last. Wednesday arrived, bright and normal-looking, like the universe had no idea a bomb was about to go off. Dana had the day off. Normally, she'd be driving to the school by 2:45, ready to pick up Harper and Peyton and carry the afternoon on her back. Instead, she was at home eating leftover pasta and watching a baking show where someone cried over a collapsed sponge cake. It was glorious. Around 3:10, her phone buzzed. Once, twice, 3 times. She didn't check it. Not yet. But she had a guess. Somewhere across town, 2 kids were standing outside the school holding their backpacks, looking around for a car that wasn't coming. And Vanessa, assuming Dana would fold, assuming she'd show up anyway, hadn't shown up either. It hit Dana then just how deeply her sister relied on her. Not in a grateful, appreciative way. In a, Dana will fix it so I don't have to way. Her phone rang. Vanessa. Then Mom. Then Vanessa again. Dana let them ring through. Finally, she checked the messages. They were exactly what she expected, in exactly the order she expected them. Where are you? The school called me. I told them you always get them. I'm stuck in traffic. Answer me. A part of Dana felt bad for the girls. Truly. None of this was their fault. But she also knew this moment wasn't actually about the kids. It was about responsibility landing exactly where it should have been all along. And Vanessa wasn't used to the wait. When Vanessa finally picked them up, she must have been a mess. The school didn't play around with late pickups. Warnings, fines, stern lectures, the works. It didn't surprise Dana when her phone lit up again. This time she answered. Big mistake? Maybe. Necessary? Absolutely. Vanessa didn't even say hello. What is wrong with you? She yelled. Her voice cracked so loudly Dana had to pull the phone slightly away. And then Dana heard it. The faint echo of her parents' voices behind her sister. Of course Vanessa had put her on speaker. Nothing said healthy family dynamic like an ambush conference call. You endangered the girls, Vanessa snapped. You knew I needed you. Dana took a slow breath and kept her voice level. Calm is a superpower when everyone around you is combusting. I told you I wouldn't be there. she said. That is not an excuse. It's not an excuse, Dana agreed. It's information. Your failure to plan isn't my emergency. Dead silence, the kind that makes the air thicken. Then her mother jumped in. Dana, that's enough. This isn't who you are. Wasn't that who she was? Dana almost laughed again. Her mother continued. And about that sleepover, you're seriously still upset? It was just a lesson. Children need responsibility. A lesson. Right. Scrubbing floors until Mia's hands were raw. That kind of lesson. You're overreacting, Mom added. You're punishing children over nothing. Nothing. Dana's jaw clenched so tight she heard something pop. Mom, she said slowly, they used my daughter. She cleaned a little. A little? Dana's voice came out sharp. You left her alone in the house while you all went out for ice cream. She cleaned the entire place. Her hands were bleeding. Another silence. A heavier one. But Dana was done filling silences to keep the peace. You've exploited me since I was a kid, she continued. And now you're doing the same thing to Mia. That ends today. Vanessa scoffed. Oh, please. No more babysitting, Dana said. No more money, no more medical favors, no more dropping everything because you snapped your fingers. You're having a tantrum, Mom snapped. We did so much for you, Vanessa added. You always overreact, Dad muttered somewhere in the background. Every line they threw was the same script Dana had grown up with. Only now, she wasn't the same kid. If you want a relationship with me, Dana said quietly, it will be a real one, a respectful one. Otherwise, this is it. I'm done. There was a collective gasp, like she'd sworn in church. Then Mom delivered the final blow. Call us when you're done with this tantrum. And the line went dead. Dana sat there for a moment, phone still in her hand, feeling the tremble running through her. Not fear, not regret, just the weight of finally standing up, really standing up, after a lifetime of bending. They thought she'd cave. They thought she'd panic. They thought they could guilt her back into place. They had no idea how serious she was, and everything they depended on her for was about to fall apart. Dana knew deep down that they weren't going to let her silence stay silent. People like her family don't hear the word no. They hear try harder. So the weeks that followed were loud. Not outwardly, not in the screaming sense, louder in the persistent tapping on glass sense. That kind of pressure that builds and builds until you either break or finally remember you have every right to walk away. Every few days, her phone lit up. You know I need you Wednesday. What else are you doing? The girls miss you. You're being dramatic. Dana gave them the same answer every time. A simple, clean, beautifully uncompromising no, typed just like that. Sometimes she didn't even bother with the full word. Sometimes she just sent the single letter, N. A petty masterpiece. And honestly, keeping it that short made it easier not to get pulled into the undertow. She didn't owe them explanations. She'd spent her whole life explaining. She was done giving them free essays. The financial requests stopped too, mainly because the money pipeline dried up so fast it probably gave them whiplash. The medical questions disappeared after she replied just once with, "Call your doctor." A sentence so radical in her family you'd think she'd suggested arson. Word trickled back to Dana through cousins, neighbors, and one overly enthusiastic hairstylist that Vanessa went through a series of disastrous babysitters. One lost track of the girls in a mall. One fed them nothing but microwave noodles. One locked herself in the bathroom and cried for 20 minutes. Normally, Dana would have felt bad. Now, let's just say she felt appropriately neutral. Some wounds teach numbness. About 3 weeks in, her parents called. Dana almost didn't answer. But something told her this wouldn't be a casual, how's the weather chat. As soon as she picked up, Mom launched in. "You're skipping family dinner now?" Dana blinked. "No one invited me." "Well, you always come." "Right, but no one invited me." A small, tight pause stretched across the line. Then Dad, who rarely spoke unless someone prompted him, cleared his throat. "Well," he said, "if you want to join us tonight, your sister needs you to take the girls this afternoon." Ah, there it was, the entry fee. Dana actually laughed, a short, dry sound. "Seeing my family shouldn't require unpaid labor," she said. "So no, I'm not coming." Mom gasped like Dana had slapped the Pope. "You're abandoning your family." "Funny," Dana said. "I thought family abandoned me the moment they used my daughter." There was a sharp inhale on the other end. Then Mom said, "We'll pray for clarity for you," in the tone people use when they mean you're hysterical and we're tired of you. They hung up politely. They were not polite. The real breaking point, though, the one that snapped the last thread they had left on Dana, came on a Saturday afternoon. Dana and Mia had plans. Real ones. Ice cream, then the park, then a movie night at home. Dana had been promising her daughter a day just for them, without shadows creeping in. They pulled into the driveway, and Dana froze. Because standing on her front step, backpacks on, pajamas stuffed into tote bags, were Harper and Peyton. Alone. Her stomach dropped. "Mom said it's an emergency," Harper said as soon as she saw Dana. "She said you have to watch us." Peyton nodded, eyes wide and apologetic in that way kids get when they don't understand the situation but feel the tension anyway. Mia stopped beside her mother. Dana felt her daughter go tense, completely silent. Her heart broke for Mia. Again. She unlocked the door and gestured the girls inside, not out of obligation, but because they were children standing alone on a sidewalk. Whatever war Dana was fighting with their mother, they weren't combatants. But the moment the door closed, the temperature in the room shifted. Mia stood stiffly at the far end of the couch, clutching her stuffed rabbit, eyes flicking between her mother and her cousins like she was bracing for another betrayal. Dana knelt down to her. "It's okay," she whispered. "They're staying only until we figure out what's going on. You and I still have our day." Mia nodded, but the hurt was there. That familiar shadow. Dana texted Vanessa, called her, called again. Nothing. She tried Vanessa's husband, straight to voicemail. "How long ago did she drop you off?" Dana asked the girls. "We walked," Harper said quietly. Walked. They'd walked to Dana's house, with full sleepover bags, for an emergency. A cold, sharp realization slid through her. This wasn't last minute. This wasn't a crisis. This was planned. And if Dana had been out running errands, if she and Mia hadn't come straight home, the girls would have waited, alone, on the porch. Dana's hands shook so badly she almost dropped her phone. She opened social media, mostly to distract herself, and that's when she saw it. Vanessa, in a sparkly dress, laughing, holding a drink, at an adults-only birthday party, smiling so wide you'd think she'd never had a care in the world. Caption: "Much-needed night out." Not a word about her daughters. Dana felt something snap cleanly, like a branch underfoot. She called her mother. "Mom, the girls were dumped at my house without warning. Vanessa is unreachable." "She needed a break," Mom said immediately. "You're making too much of this." "She abandoned them." "You're exaggerating." "She's at a party." Another pause. Then, "She works hard, Dana." That old familiar punch, the dismissal, the minimization, the suggestion that Vanessa's exhaustion was valid and Dana's was imaginary. Dana hung up. Not angrily, just done. Then she made the call she never thought she would. CPS listened carefully as Dana explained the situation. 2 children left without permission. No reachable parent, No emergency contact responding. And Dana had her own child to care for. They sent someone over immediately. It was surreal, watching the girls pack up their backpacks quietly. They weren't scared, just confused. Little whispers of, "Are we in trouble?" broke Dana's heart. "No, sweethearts," she said. "You're not in trouble at all." The social worker took them gently, speaking softly, explaining everything. And when the door closed behind them, the silence felt heavy and hollow. Dana texted Vanessa, "Your kids are with CPS. You can pick them up there. Do not ever dump them on me again." She didn't wait for a reply. Dana turned to Mia. Her daughter's face was drawn, worried. "Are we still getting ice cream?" Mia whispered. Dana's throat tightened. "Yes," she said. "We are absolutely getting ice cream." Mia smiled. They grabbed their jackets. They drove. They ordered the biggest sundaes on the menu. And Mia actually talked, about school, about books, about the little things she'd stopped sharing because she was too busy bracing for the next family explosion. Somewhere between her giggle and the smear of chocolate on her lip, Dana felt it. A line had been crossed, and it would never uncross. Vanessa thought she could trap Dana in her emergency. She thought she could force Dana's hand. She thought Dana would fold like always. She had no idea what she'd just started. Months later, Dana was still no contact, and everything was quieter. Mia laughed more. Dana slept better. Her life finally felt like it belonged to her. Meanwhile, Vanessa's world shrank the moment Dana stepped out of it. Without Dana patching every hole, her sister had to learn what responsibility actually feels like. Turns out some people only thrive when you let them use you. And Dana was done being useful. So what do you think? Did she go too far or not far enough? Let me know in the comments and subscribe for more.